Hello and welcome to Leadership Matters, a channel that is committed to learning everything about leadership. A little bit about myself. My name is David and I'm married to Chum, and we have a young daughter. Her name is Amy. We are particularly grateful that we were able to provide leadership and serve in different capacities with different ministries and organizations over the past 10 years. In fact, less than 10 years ago, my wife and I started a church in the city of Shillong and served in that church as lead pastors until today. At the same time, when we were launching the church, we also launched a youth ministry called Impact Ministries, a ministry that focuses on reaching out to young people, especially to college students. For the past 11 years, I have been involved in teaching and training young people, equipping them for Christian church and ministry. What a privilege it was that we were able to be a part of so many young people. The subject of leadership has been one of my favorite subjects. Since my undergraduate days, I have been an avid learner of leadership. And I believe that everyone has been called to lead in some areas of their lives. I believe that your family, your organization will grow only up to the level of your growth. In fact, they will never grow beyond you. So the bottom line is, if you grow, they will also grow along with you. Well, if you are an avid learner on leadership like me, and if this channel is of any value to you, I would urge you to subscribe to the channel and share it with others also. Since this is our first episode, I would really be grateful if you would share your comments, your views, even your suggestions, or your interactions in any ways. This will really encourage us to continue providing content on leadership. Let's dive into our content for today. Today, I want to speak to us about the 5 leadership styles that we adopt when we lead. In fact, these are the styles that most leaders knowingly, unknowingly have adopted in their form of leadership. I'm going to share about the 5 styles, but today we're going to cover only 2, and the rest of the 3 we will cover in the next episode. The first style of leadership is what I call as the my way style. Now, this is also known as the autocratic style of leadership. The second one is what I call as the our way style. And this, most people would call it as the democratic style of leadership. And the other style of leadership is what I call as your way style, which is, formerly known as the delegative style of leadership. Another one is what I call as the win-win style of leadership. And this is also known as the transactional style of leadership. The fifth one is what I call as the uplifting style of leadership. And sometimes it's known as, mostly it's known as the transformational style of leadership. Well, there are many other styles of leadership that you can find out there, but these 5 are the most common practiced style of leadership among leaders. Well, there is no doubt in my mind that you have adopted at least one of these styles of leadership. Knowingly, unknowingly, you have adopted in your own, leadership, as you lead your group or as you lead your organization. The first style of leadership we want to learn today, or rather be informed today, is what I call as the my style of leadership, or the autocratic style of leadership. This style of leadership is very rigid and lacks any form of flexibility. And leaders who adopt this style of leadership are in complete control of the group that they lead. Well, this style of leadership will be very effective when dealing with a group of people who are totally dependent on the leader. For example, if you are counseling a group of people who are having low self-esteem, or maybe people who are not capable of deciding for themselves, then this kind of a leadership style will be very effective. Well, it's also very effective in the armed forces, or in a kingdom where a king reigns supreme. I had the experience of being with the NCC. We call it as as the National Cadet Corps. For 2.5 years, and I have experienced firsthand with this style of leadership, where the commander would command you to get any kind of job done, and you would have to go and do it. There is no question as to why should I do that, or I don't have the mood to do it. Well, there's no room for such kind of mood once a command is given. So this kind of an autocratic style of leadership will work well only in such kind of a setup. The second one is what I call as the our style of leadership. We call it also as the democratic style of leadership. Democratic style of leadership is an inclusive style of leadership. Now, this style of leadership appreciates and considers all inputs that comes from all the group members that you're leading. Now, leaders who adopt this kind of leadership works from within the group. They don't empower the group from the outside, but they work from within the group that they're leading. They lead the group in making decisions. They allow the group to participate significantly in decision making also. They ask for suggestions and contributions from the group. Let us consider this one question. How do leaders develop certain style of leadership? You may have seen some leaders adopting the autocratic style of leadership, while some the democratic style of leadership. But how do they really develop such style? In 1960, Dr. McGregor, a well-known professor of management, gave to us the theory assumption. He calls them as the theory X assumption and the theory Y assumption. Now, with the theory X assumption, he said that leaders believe and assume that their people are not willing to work. They're not willing to achieve any kind of organizational goals. The leader thinks that people always needed to be told what to do. They always needed to be guided as to what to do. They believe that their people are passive, and they believe that their people are lazy. And therefore, they need to be persuaded, they need to be told, they need to be supervised, and at times they even need to be scolded. So the leader who adopts such an assumption believes that in order to move people to work, they must manipulate their followers. They must make promises to their followers, and at times they must threaten their followers. I've seen it firsthand, some leaders threatening their own followers that they would cut down on benefits, that they would punish them for not doing what they are being told to do. On the other hand, the theory Y assumption suggests that leaders believe that their people are willing to work, that their people are willing to achieve any kinds of organizational goals. And therefore, they do not need to be told, they do not need to be manipulated, they do not need to be persuaded to work towards a certain goal. You see, McGregor suggests to us that leaders who adopt the theory X assumption will ultimately develop the autocratic style of leadership, while leaders who adopt the theory Y assumption will ultimately develop the democratic style of leadership. As I said, you will have to pick and choose as to what kind of style of leadership it suits you best. But I think in our day and age, the democratic style of leadership is very much welcome. Well, you may ask a question as to why is that so? Well, I think the democratic style of leadership has more core elements to it than the autocratic style of leadership. Now, the democratic style of leadership has the core elements of creativity. The people who work under you, when they believe, when they know that the leader believes in them, then you will see that creativity grows within the group. And you will see that courage develops within that group. And not just that, fairness, competence, accountability, and honesty will grow within that particular group that you're leading. So as leaders, we've got to pick and choose what style suits us best. And we will continue with the next 3 styles of leadership in the next episode. Until then, have a great one.